What is up, everybody? My name is Sammy Dart. If you guys are brand new here, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and comment down below. So today I'm going to react to 6 true road trip stories. Scary stories. Let's get this video on the road. Let's go.
This happened to two of my friends and I 3 years ago. We were driving from Texas to California, and along the way, we made quite a few stops. Not only to get gas, but to eat, and a few times we were so tired, we had to stop at a motel to sleep. We tried to save money a couple times and slept in the car at a rest stop. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that sleeping at a rest stop is not the greatest idea, especially since we didn't have a plan or a designated stop in mind. We were too tired to drive in the middle of the night driving through Arizona. The rest stop was completely empty. There was nobody there. For the majority of our trip, I drove, and on the occasion I'm speaking about, I was sitting in the driver's seat with both of my friends laying in the back of the truck in sleeping bags. I couldn't sleep. I got out of the truck like 3 times to walk over to the vending machine by the bathrooms. I did, however, fall asleep though at about 4 a.m. I didn't sleep for long. The Mountain Dew I drank went right through me, and I had to go pee. But before I opened the door to get out, something caught my eye. Standing on the other side of the empty parking lot was a person. I squinted my eyes to see them better, but could only see that it was a man. I was pretty sure. And he was standing with his back facing the highway and forward facing me. I actually did not believe what I was seeing because of how scary it was. This is the kind of thing that you see in scary movies. I remember thinking that as I looked at this person. It didn't take me long to accept that it was real, and I sort of whisper yelled to my friends in the back to wake up. One of my friends made a grunting noise and the other ignored me. I opened the back window of my truck and whispered louder, telling them to get the hell up. The both of them moved, but didn't sit up. I turned to look at the person once more, and was startled to see that the person had moved closer to my truck. He was now standing in the middle of the parking lot, and now I could see him much more clearly. He was wearing all black and black gloves. He pointed to the field behind my truck in a way like he wanted me to look away from him. I turned over my shoulder again and yelled, "Guys, wake up, look!" And they both sat up and were now concerned because I had told them to look at something. They looked around and asked, "What?" I turned to face the person again, and he was gone. I looked in the direction of the bathrooms, behind me, over in the field, and he was just gone. My friends jumped in the truck after they saw how freaked out I was, and we got the hell out of there.
It's early November, cold, rainy, around midnight. My fiance and I like taking spontaneous late-night drives. We typically start out on one of the main roads within our city and keep following it until we hit the next town. Sometimes our drives last hours. The layout of my county and surrounding counties is a little bizarre. All of the cities and towns are isolated by large spreads of woods and country. I live in a relatively large college town, but a half-hour drive in one direction can land you stranded on jagged, unmarked gravel roads in the middle of nowhere, or in small, weird villages that no one knows about. It's actually pretty exciting, and that's why we do it so much. It's midnight, and we're nearly lost. My fiancée Willa is poking around on my phone, trying to figure out what road we're on. We're on a muddy path in a pit of country, framed by small towns that we've never heard of. Flory, Winnica, and Tell. There are no other cars on the roads. It's rainy and misty, and the headlights on my car aren't doing a damn thing. There are stands of trees and brush on either side of the road. We're heading north road, which is a straight shot to Winnica. We make our way down the mud for a half hour and never hit it. We've always had fun on these short drives. It's the first time we've actually really been on edge. Willa says we should have found 200th Street West already and asks if we passed it without noticing. I ask nervously if we should turn around, but she doesn't think we can without backing up into a tree or ditch. I'm driving a Mazda, and it has an awfully wide turn. She's biting her nails while scrolling around on Google Maps. 10 minutes pass, and we finally see a black road snaking up a hill branching off of the road we're on. I hurriedly turn into it. It's very narrow, and twigs and branches are raking the doors and windows of the car. When we complete the climb up the little road, we find ourselves in a wide paved clearing with a house at the back of it, tucked into the thick woods. Willa doesn't miss a beat and starts hissing for me to turn around. Our headlights illuminate the whole property, which is in major disrepair. No lights, windows shattered. The yard is littered with scraps and trash, barrels, car parts, tools, hundreds of glass bottles, branches, slabs of concrete, rocks, nasty old Chevy pickup. It looks like the house is sitting on top of all of it. Every inch of the property is entangled in nets and ivy and weeds. Willa points out little moving shadows and glowing spots around the yard. There are dozens of cats around, and they're all looking at us, and their eyes are glimmering from the headlights. I almost piss myself when a walnut-sized rock darts out of the brush and pops against the windshield. It fractures the glass. My fiancée screams and grabs my arm. She's whimpering. Danny, what was that? What? Oh my God, what? God damn, Danny, what was that? What happened? The rain is pouring in black streams down the trees, over the house, and across the pavement. All of the blood runs from my face. After a few seconds, a man stumbles out from the bushes and the weeds, and he is carrying a fucking shovel. He's swallowed in a big, dirty navy coat, and he has a beard. Then, a screen door on the house opens, and all the cats scatter. A tall, thin, spidery woman crawls out onto the porch. She has long, wild gray hair. She's just up high enough on the porch that the headlights don't reach her eyes. And then the man starts walking towards us with the shovel. Willa is screaming and crying and slapping the door lock repeatedly. I throw the car into reverse, rolling over cinder blocks and branches, and then I screech down the road. After Willa stops crying, and there is some distance between us and that house, I start to relax. Yet when I get out of the woods and hit a long stretch of road, I notice headlights behind us. I get a stomach ache when I notice the car is mimicking all of our turns onto different roads. After nearly half an hour of being pursued, we finally reach Flory and pull into a gas station that's being visited by other people. I watch the vehicle pass. It was the same Chevy truck that we saw at the house.
My best friend Logan and I were 20 years old when this took place.
What the heck?
We were
Like
driving from
that?
Washington to California, and then to Mexico. It was pretty late at night, and I was in the passenger seat, asleep. I woke up to the sound of talking, and looked to see Logan muttering to himself. I asked him what he was doing, and he jumped. He didn't know what to say, and I just said, "Don't worry about it. It's nothing." I asked him if he wanted me to drive, and he said no, so I fell back asleep. I woke up a little while later and switched the playlist on my iPod. I looked at him, and he wasn't muttering anymore. I fell back asleep. The next time I woke up, the car was stopped. We were in a field, and Logan was gone. I, of course, flipped out and got out of the car. I could see the road we were driving on. Logan had driven off the road and into a field about 50 feet. I found him sitting in front of the car muttering. I demanded that he tell me what the hell was going on. But he says that he didn't know, and I got back in the car and drove us to a motel. The next morning he was laughing and acting totally normal, and told me that the night before was nothing, and that I needed to forget about it.
I was traveling with my brother and our friend. We were on a road trip going from Massachusetts to New Hampshire. The trip wasn't too long, but along the way, we experienced something very dramatic. It was about 3 a.m., and I was driving. My brother and our friend were sleeping, and it was pouring rain. I could barely see the road, and on top of that, was having difficulty keeping my eyes from closing. I was exhausted. Cars were speeding by me, and the rain was falling so hard. I realized I needed to get off the freeway. Somewhere. Anywhere. I pulled off onto the next random exit and made a couple turns that I thought would lead me to a gas station. Not only was I wrong, but I ended up on some desolate road. I drove a ways down it, made a turn, and then another turn, hoping to see lights of any building. But all I could see were trees all around me. I turned to see that my brother and friend were still passed out and had no idea what was going on. I didn't really want to wake them and tell them that I was tired as hell and we were lost. I was sure that they wouldn't like that. I drove and ended up going down a long driveway on accident. I stopped the car for a minute and started to fall asleep in this person's driveway. I was far enough away from the house that when I turned off my headlights, I was sure that they wouldn't have seen me. I drifted off and then was abruptly woken up by a huge crash. Someone or something slammed against my driver's side window. It woke up all three of us, and I struggled to explain where we were while scared as hell as something just hit my car. Eventually, I got the other two in the car to shut the hell up so I could think. The three of us looked out the windows trying to see anyone or anything, but the rain prevented it. Then, without warning, the back window behind me shattered. The three of us screamed, and I started the engine and peeled off towards the house. Roughly 50 yards away, I stopped at the house, turned the car around, and then gunned it down the driveway. We found our way back to the freeway. I was wide awake, and the three of us never saw who or what broke the window.
I had just turned 18, and I bought my first car with the money that I saved up for my minimum wage job. It was a 15-year-old blue Honda Civic. I bought it off of Craigslist, and the guy I bought it from said it was in perfectly good condition. With that being said, I called up my best friend Stephanie and asked her if she wanted to do a mini road trip with me, just us two girls on the road. She said yes, and I picked her up the next afternoon. We didn't really have a destination in mind, just kind of wanted to drive throughout the day and see where we ended up. Now we're on the road, driving through the back roads of Wyoming, 5 hours into the drive, when my car starts to pour out black smoke from the hood. Stephanie and I start tripping out and keep driving till we found a gas station. Luckily, it was one of those half gas station, half mechanic shop type. We pull in, car still smoking, and we ask the mechanic guy if he can take a look at our car. He looks at us both up and down with a really perverted type of look. He spits out some tobacco-filled spit before he says, "Let me take a look." He pops the hood and figures out that the screws on the oil filter thing are loose and the oil was pouring out and burning, and that's where the smoke came from. He says, "Yeah, I can fix it. Just go into the gas station and give me about 15 minutes. This guy really creeped us out, but we were just thankful that he was helping us. 15 minutes goes by, and he says it's as good as new. We thank him, tip him, and head back out onto the road. We get about 5 miles down the road, and the car starts shaking. It's giving this thumping noise from beneath the hood. We pull over on the side of this two-way road that we are on and get out. At this time, cell phones were just coming out, so only rich people owned one. We were stranded. By this point, the sun was almost down. We were trying to think of a plan. Do I go get help? Do we both go? Should one stay back with the car? As we were figuring out what to do, we saw an old, grimy Chevy truck coming up towards us. We flagged down the truck, and it stopped about 10 yards behind our car, with its headlights nearly blinding us as we looked at it. The person stepped out. As he got closer to us, we realized it's the mechanic from the gas station. We were so relieved. We yelled out, "Oh, thank God. Can you please check out our car again?" The guy didn't say anything, just slowly walked towards us. And that's when we saw it. He was holding a large knife at his side. Stephanie grabbed my hand and pulled me as she started sprinting away. The man started chasing after us. We were running as fast as we could. The road we were on was surrounded by trees and bushes, so we jumped inside of these huge bushes and hid from the guy. We saw him run by. We stayed quiet till eventually we didn't see him again. Then we took off running until we found another town and were able to call the police. The cops eventually came out, but were no help. We eventually had a tow truck pick up our car, and my dad picked us up. That was the scariest moment of my life.
My husband and I were on a road trip coming back to Louisiana from Iowa. We would drive in 4-hour shifts, whilst the other person slept in the back of the car. It was around 3 a.m., and he woke me up to start my shift. I looked around and didn't see another car in sight, or even a streetlight nor building. He had taken an alternate route that he thought would be faster. Finally, we come across a small local gas station with a single light on. It was closed, and our car was the only one there. We pull over, and as I'm getting ready to open the door so that we can switch places, my husband tells me to hold on. I look up, and from behind the back of the gas station, a man wearing rags was shambling towards us quickly, not quite running, which made it even scarier in a zombie-esque way. I told my husband to hurry and drive away. He was intrigued though. He just stared ahead as the guy got closer and closer. I started freaking out and screaming for him to go until he did. As he drove away, I looked behind us until the gas station disappeared. As far as I could see, the man followed the car at the same odd pace he was walking at until I could no longer see him. Gives me the chills big time.
My aunts and I were on a road trip to visit my grandparents. We were driving almost 3,000 miles to the Northwest Territories of Canada from Portland, Oregon. Most of the drive is long, lonely highways. I decided it would be a good idea to bring along an unsolved mysteries book to pass the time, because reading about murder is always good road trip fun. We stop at a campground and just sleep in the van. I was sleeping in the front passenger seat. I thought I heard footsteps close to the van, but I didn't see anything. When I woke up the next morning, I glanced out the window and there was a full face print on the window right next to me, like someone had been watching us during the night. Needless to say, I didn't sleep for the rest of the drive.
Hello, this is We Shouldn't Be Here. Did you enjoy those stories? If so, head over to my channel to finish up these terrifying road trip horror stories.
So, guys, I hope you guys enjoy the spooky stories. Hope you guys having a wonderful day. And guess what's gonna be October? It's gonna be the best all season finale of scary stories through Halloween. And then November, we're gonna be doing some other stuff too. And guys, if you guys haven't tried the new Taco Bell toasted cheese chalupas box, go and get that. Please, it's delicious. I give it a 5 stars. So go try that out. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank gosh it was a wonderful Friday I had, and now it's Saturday, and I'm going to be doing more videos of these videos tomorrow. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Good night. Bye. I'll see you in the morning or late at night to do these videos. Bye, guys.